This is part of the clinical data management training. So I'm going to discuss on the topics covered under my clinical data management training. I take classes by online. So I'm going to cover below topics like importance of this training and what are the career plans we can have once we complete this training. I will cover from the history of the clinical trials to drug development process. In between, I am going to discuss history of the clinical trials and what are the cross-functional teams usually clinical data managers will work. Upon completion of my training based on the subject interest or the training interest, he can go for the clinical data manager position or research analyst, clinical study coordinator, or a study monitor. We are going to discuss what are the career plans we can choose in the career plan sections. I made different slides so people can or students can understand clearly the objective of each end section, like how particular plan can be executed, how to land a job in a clinical research, job roles in a clinical research, and what are the pathways to launching in a clinical research. Like that, different sections we have. And we are going to discuss history of the clinical trials, and we are going to discuss on the clinical team. And usually any clinical studies in the human before conduction of in the human, animal studies should be conducted, those called as a preclinical studies. Once preclinical studies are completed and it is should be filed, that is called IND, investigation new drug application. Once IND get approved, we can start on the human, that is called clinical studies. And in the clinical studies there are 4 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. We are going to discuss that one. To administer a drug, we require drug development. So drug development is a one of the basic fundamental principles as a clinical data manager required to understand. So this drug development process and regulatory filing process and patents I am going to discuss very briefly. Coming to the main topic here is clinical data management activities. I am going to cover most of the topics under clinical data management, like protocol, which is very important document to conduct a human clinical study. In that I'm going to provide some examples, and I'm going to discuss about the types of clinical data and how to design a CRF and who will involve in that CRF and who will get the advantage on the CRF and how to collect the data. All this information we are going to discuss in clinical data management section. Apart that, I also provide or connect the domain knowledge between the CDASH principles and CDISC principles. Usually CDISC principles used by SAS programmers and CDASH principles used by clinical data managers. Apart that, I will give some sessions for the interview preparations, and also every week I will give some assignment, and that assignments required to complete by students, and it should be tracked. And we have more we are going to discuss more topics too, so please reach out to me for clinical data management online sessions. Thank you.